Who were some of your role models as a young African American playing high school basketball?
I mean, growing up, and that was in the late '70s. So, from a just an area standpoint, I had a bunch of cousins that were really good. I got one cousin that was probably the best basketball player in the state of Virginia, and all my cousins played. So imagine, Coop, I would go to the park. Now the park's named after me now, but back then it was just a park everybody went to. I'd go to the park and play, and they wouldn't let me play. I was too skinny, too tall. My cousin said they're gonna break you out, whatever, and it was very physical, like when we played in the NBA. And so I would get to the last game, and lights get ready to go out 9:30. We played at 11. And we get to six, and the lights go out. We got to go home. We get to six, and I play the last game. I wouldn't play. So that made me a little mad. I would play and continue to play every year. And the next couple of years, they let me play, and I beat everybody else up from that standpoint. So growing up, it was like that. But that's just in that area. But looking at people like my cousins, obviously in the back, looking at Kareem, looking at Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, those guys, Julius Irving, all those guys in the late '70s. And when you grow up, you only got that one game a week. CBS special, one game on Sunday, tape delay, whatever. That's all you could see growing up. So you could see a little bit. Then we was on the black and white TV or color TV. So you couldn't see it as much as obviously the fans do today. But I watched every game with my mom. She was a basketball player in high school. And imagine back then, my mother played, you could play 3-on-3. You couldn't go past half court. So you was an offensive player or a defensive player. And she said she taught me the sky hook from that standpoint or how to play because she played that way. She was really, really good in high school. So come back, my mother, then obviously the NBA, and then all the guys that played. I studied the game, very well back in the day from Wilt to Bill Russell to Kareem to Julius. So I wanted to see the games when I was coming up on that Sunday night.
So, as a young person, Ralph, it seemed like your basketball IQ was already high up there. You attribute to that to some of your success?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you start to find something that you really love, again, I love baseball. I knew the Willie Mazes, and I knew the fast pitch, the split finger. I knew all that kind of stuff growing up, but I didn't. My body wasn't adjusting to baseball like it should have. Pitching, I wanted to pitch. I didn't want to play anywhere else but pitch. And then basketball, you say, okay, great, but it was boring, like I said, because we only played on a 6 foot basket. And then growing up, I couldn't get the ball because I was so tall because the guards were taking it. So I ended up learning how to dribble that way growing up. I dribble them down the court, I dribble them down the streets. I go in front yard and up the driveway, dribble, night until my mom made me go to bed. Then I go watch the game and study it. And there was no internet. There was no, it was only TV. And so, you couldn't tape a game, so you had to watch it literally every Sunday night and make sure you watched it because you could see it in the CBS game of the week. So I watched it, and then when I started to grow a little bit more in high school, I had a great high school coach that taught me that, and he would bring me films of games, the VHS. He would bring, and we just sit there and watch guys play, watch guys play, watch guys play. That's the way well I learned how to dribble and how to shoot and how to really be a student of the game.
Hey, Ralph, just you saying that, I want to ask you this. Did you have that big man mentality where you thought that you were a guard and you wanted to dribble the bring the ball up the floor?
I did because I couldn't get the damn ball, Coop. Little ass guards wouldn't give me the ball. You know how it goes. You can't get the ball from the guards, and then you're a big guy. You're always supposed to do is rebound. And then so I would do it in the game in elementary and high school. My high school coach came and said, "Look, son, if you can do it in practice, you can do it in a game. But you can't do it in a game unless you do it in practice." So every day he would put me against the fastest guy on the court, and he steal the ball from me every time until I got it. And then he said, "Well, they will put two people on you." So I would get the rebound, and I would try to take it to the court, and they steal it. But he taught me how to dribble at the early age because he knew I was frustrated not getting the basketball because I was double and triple team. I could never get the freaking ball. So I like, okay, great, let me just get it and shoot it every time I got it. But you had to go get the rebound.
What's it like for a 18-year-old to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated?
Uh, back then Sports Illustrated was the shit, right? You had to be
Yeah,
on
that was
Sports
big.
Illustrated.
That was
You
big.
in the back cover, you got your little picture in the back. You see, oh, you made the back cover. But to be on the cover, whatever times I was, or actually I got some here somewhere. It was pretty fun because everybody back then saw it and knew it. But again, Sports Illustrated was like the ESPN. If you could make Sports Illustrated, you were good. But also, Sports Illustrated said if you made the cover, then you're going to have a bad game or something was going to negative happen to you because you thought you were the shit at that point in time. So I kept hearing that, hearing that, hearing that. So I never really saw the early Sports Illustrated cover until my mom hid them from me.